YouTube, it's Erin, and I am the Handbag Housewife, and I'm back again with another video. Today's video, I'm going to tackle some of the trials and tribulations that I have endured in my handbag collecting journey. Let me just tell you that these are things that truly stress me out and cause extreme anxiety sometimes and make me question whether it's even worth it to curate a collection if you have to go through all the stuff that you may have to go through on your hunt, on the search. I mean, the hunt can be exciting, yes, it's true, but it can also be nerve-wracking and consuming. So I thought I would just go through a few examples, and if this is something that you like and you would like to see more of, I am positive that I can come up with more of these examples because I have a lot of experiences to share, and in fact I have shared a lot of these on YouTube. I just haven't consolidated them into a video. I've done series on them. I've had issues with multiple platforms, with brands, with department stores, and a video that Lumi Level Up did recently, and she was also featured on Super Jacobs' channel with regards to Vestiaire Collective, kind of made me think maybe I should revisit some of this so that if you all are looking at trying some of the available options out there to secure either a pre-loved or a brand new bag, to know some of the things to watch out for. So since I mentioned Vestiaire Collective, let me talk to you about some of my not so happy experiences with that particular company. Now, I will tell you that I was able to purchase several Longchamp extra small bags from Vestiaire, and those were successful purchases, and I'm super glad that they worked out. I also purchased my emerald green Gucci Marmot small flat bag from Vestiaire, and it came by way of the United Kingdom, and although it arrived to me in a flattened condition, I would consider this particular purchase a success as well. But I have run into a couple of major roadblocks with Vestiaire, and I thought I would share them. I ordered, when I was collecting Marc Jacobs, the tote bag minis, which are now the smalls, I ordered the Orchid Haze Marc Jacobs, the tote bag mini from a seller on Vestiaire, and it was a Canadian seller. I asked specifically if the item was an authentic Marc Jacobs, the tote bag mini in Orchid Haze. I don't know if I said Orchid Haze when I asked, but you know, you get the gist. I asked if it was authentic, and the seller confirmed that yes, it was. I tried to get them to tell me where they had purchased it from, because that's something I tend to ask is, where did you get it? Because if they tell me they got it from a well-known department store and have documentation to support that, that tends to ease my mind a little bit. And I know that that particular bag is highly counterfeited, despite the fact that the price point of that bag isn't super high. And so I proceeded with the order, and let me just tell you, it wasn't like I got an amazing deal on that bag. I want to say it cost me not too far off of retail. I might have saved a little bit, like let's say I paid $3.50 and retail was $3.75 plus tax. But it wasn't like a too good to be true situation, which is something that you definitely need to watch out for when you're purchasing on the pre-loved market. And the way the Vestiaire Collective works is that the item is shipped to their authentication center. It is authenticated, and then it is shipped to you, the buyer. And so it's sort of nice because then you know you'll at least get something that at least resembles what was in the description. They inspected it and they sent it on to me. And I opened it on camera, I think. If not, I showed it on camera. But I looked at it and it looked good to me. I mean, it really did. And I had other Marc Jacobs, the tote bags in my collection. And one of them was this one, this cement Marc Jacobs, the tote bag. How many times can I say that? But I had the cement color, and I had not cut off the Vestiaire Collective tags yet, but I was about to do it, and I noticed something. I don't remember the specifics, but I do remember the rings being something that I saw that was different. And the only way I figured that out was that I went to clip on a decorative chain like I have here. And when I did so, I no longer had room to attach a strap. And I thought, that's weird, because on my cement one, I can attach 2 clips to the ring. And so I got my cement one down, looked at it, and determined that they were different. I then proceeded to watch some more videos about the bag, and there was a gal that I found on YouTube who was showing her counterfeit Marc Jacobs, the tote bag. And her counterfeit bag, the way the hardware looked and how big these rings were, was the same as the counterfeit bag that I had gotten from Vestiaire Collective. And at the time, I wasn't sure it was counterfeit, but I contacted them. Thank goodness I had not cut the tags off. And they let me send it back to them for re-inspection. So this whole time, I have kind of a lot of anxiety about this, because I know in the big scheme of things, that amount of money, $350 for a bag, isn't anything like what I've spent on some of my other bags, but I hate to be taken, and I don't like counterfeits, and it stressed me out, maybe not as much as a $2,000 bag would have stressed me out, but it stressed me out a lot. And when you send the bag back to Vestiaire Collective, they say they have to look at it again. They don't just agree with you. And I had submitted them all sorts of pictures comparing what I knew was authentic, a bag I bought from an authorized retailer, to this bag that I had purchased from this gal. And it should have been cut and dry, but they had to look at it. And until they looked at it and they decided in my favor, I was stressed out. And they did decide in my favor. I got my money back, but not everybody is so fortunate. And Vestiaire Collective recently basically screwed over Marie with Lumi Level Up. The more those situations drag on, the longer the anxiety you're feeling about the non-resolution of your issue is going to be prolonged. My other issue with Vestiaire Collective was with regards to a Fendi bag. And no, it was not this Fendi bag, but we're talking about Fendi, so I thought I'd bring out Little Miss Sunshine right here and have some eye candy. But the Fendi bag was a mini mama baguette, and I found it and I thought it looked really cool, and I ordered it. And when it came to me, it was authentic. That was not the issue. But my issue with it was that it was not as described. Anytime there is a flaw with a bag or whatever it is on Vestiaire Collective, I guess that it's supposed to be shown not only in the pictures, but also in the description. And I learned this recently from Mary. And what was wrong with this bag? There were a few things. First of all, the strap on the older style Fendi bags, it actually goes through like a buckle here on the side. And the glazing on the edges of that strap was falling off of the strap. And so that was issue number 1. But the major deceit that I found was issue number 2. So this buckle right here, this can be polished relatively successfully in my experience with a polishing cloth. And I've got polishing cloths that I've used on various hardware, and I have found Fendi is really receptive to polishing. And so whoever had had that bag before, they didn't just use a polishing cloth, in my opinion. I think they took it to a jeweler's wheel and they put it up to the wheel like you'd put a ring up to polish it. I think it's a wheel, like a turning thing that you move the ring around and shine it up, but I've never actually seen one. But they took it to some sort of a jeweler's tool, I think, and they literally polished the gold off. And it was like, I think it was on this centerpiece, and it was about half gone on this piece. And the way they took the photographs, the reflection on that plaque made it so where it looked like a reflection and not a loss of gold. And so they knew what they were doing, and it wasn't right. They were trying to cover up their boo-boo. And I'm sure when they were doing the polishing, they saw what they had done and stopped immediately. And it wasn't super noticeable unless you knew it was there. And I noticed it immediately when I took the bag outside. And again, thank goodness I had not cut the tags off, because Vestiaire Collective is kind of like Fashion File. Once you cut the tags off, it's yours. So once again, I had to reach out to Vestiaire and I had to get their approval. I had to send the bag back, pray it got there, that there was no issues in transit. Upon their receiving it, they had to re-inspect it. They had to agree with me, which I guess I'm really lucky, because Marie didn't end up being so lucky with her broken Chanel brooch, and I'll put that video down in the description box if you want to go check it out. But luckily they sided with me and I did get my money back. But those are two of the Vestiaire Collective experiences that I've had that have not been so great. And they both went through the authentication center, and they both should have been discovered there and not went ahead and shipped on to me. But that was not what happened, and I had to fight for myself, and the whole process in both cases probably took at least a month, and for the whole month I was stressed out. So there are just two examples of 2 months of my life that I was stressed out about a handbag that I had bought that hadn't worked out. And so the question is it worth being stressed out about bags like that? Because I would venture to say the answer is no. And that really says to me that buying these things in person may be the best way to go. But the deals you can get on the pre-loved market and the deals you can get online are fabulous sometimes. And that really makes you want to take that chance. So while I have the Fendi out, let's talk about a brand new purchase. I purchased this exact bag in this beautiful blue-green color, and Dale from Dale's Addiction has it, and I believe there's another YouTuber called maybe Simply Her Perspective, I think. But regardless, this color, it was gorgeous, and I ordered it from Italist, and I got it for, I would say, 30-ish% off of retail at that time, which was a great deal. I hadn't been able to find them anywhere else for that kind of price. I think Dale got hers from Satire, if I remember correctly, and her experience was wonderful. But Italist, they basically coordinate or facilitate the sale of goods from boutiques across Italy, I think. And so my bag came from an Italian boutique, and when they stuck the bag in the dust bag, they completely folded the corner of the flap up. And in the process, they ruined it. I mean, there was a very evident crease that went across the corner of the flap, and even if I laid something on it or, laid it face down for a while, flattened it out, the wrinkling from that would not go away. And so I had to contact Italist, and the way the returns work with Italist is that I can't remember if most things are final sale or not, but I do know that if you did return something, unless it was their fault, you were responsible for the customs and duties on the way back, which can be a very substantial amount of money. So buying from abroad is stressful because of that. If you have any issue and have to return and the fault is within yourself, like the bag doesn't work or whatever, you've got to deal with customs and duties. And B, you're working with a company that's on a completely different time schedule than you're on. And that is stressful because the response times it took for them to get back to me and for me to message them to see my message and get back to me, it just took a long time. And that prolonged the stress of making the return. And eventually it all worked out and I got my money back and they refunded me the customs and the duties, but I had to wait for the bag to get back to them, and then they wanted me to wait until they shipped it back to the boutique. So it wasn't just when it made it back to their distribution center. They wanted me to wait until it got back to the boutique. And when it got to their distribution center, it didn't go anywhere for a little bit. And I was very frustrated. So I involved my credit card company at that point because the whole process had taken so long. Once they received it at their hub, I really felt like that they could issue the refund because they had it in their hands to inspect it. And at that point, they had to ship it on. It was out of my hands. And anything that happened to it in transit between when they had it and when the boutique got it was on Italist, not me. And so once my credit card got involved, they just agreed to the refund immediately and it was done. But that is another company that I do not want to work with anymore. So that's one is Vestiaire and two is Italist. And I'm seeing that this video is going to be really long. I have another example, and that is with Farfetch. So Farfetch, a lot like Italist, they work with boutiques around the world, and a lot of YouTubers tout that as a reason to purchase from them. And I guess Farfetch is having some issues right now and may not last. I don't know. But this was before any of that came into light. This was when everything was all hunky-dory and golden with Farfetch. So the situation with the purchase with Farfetch was that I was on the hunt for the Rose Dust Marc Jacobs the tote bag. And it was in a real pale, almost shimmery pink color. Once again, I brought an exhibit down. This is my True Red Marc Jacobs the tote bag. I have bought and sold the Rose Dust Marc Jacobs the tote bag twice. And so I'm not going to bring that one back into my collection, I don't think. Knock on fake wood in my closet. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That bag is gone again. But the first time I bought it from Farfetch. And when it came, the boutique that they sourced it from, I believe was like Monier Frères. I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation. It was like Monnier and then Frères. And I think that's a pretty well-known French department store that has a good reputation. But what happened is they shipped me the bag, and I didn't realize it at the time, but most of these bags, they have some issues. There's a little defect somewhere on most all of them. Like, for instance, I've had more than one of them, and the Rose Dust one I got, I think, had the same issue, but you can see how the handle's bent funky right there. I've had that with at least 3 of the Marc Jacobs the tote bags that have come through my hands. And I've learned that as long as there's no kind of issues with the pebbling of the leather on the front, to just go with it with these bags. And I've had people point out, like, for example, oh, the A's higher or the O's higher or lower or whatever. That's going to happen with these bags. That's just how they are. Most all of them have something wrong with them. If the front of the bag that you get is aesthetically pleasing to you and you like the feel of it and you like everything about it, but the grain of the leather is different right here in this spot or right here in this spot, or there's a bend in the handle. If you really like the bag, I would recommend just keeping it, because the odds are that the next one you get is going to have something too. But I was brand new to buying the Marc Jacobs the tote bags at that time. And the one I got, it had like some glue staining right here maybe. There was something right on the front and in the center, and it was like here and here. So I felt like that was a legitimate reason to return it. Now that I think about it, it wasn't my first Marc Jacobs the tote bag, but I think it may have been my first leather Marc Jacobs the tote bag. But when I opened it, one thing I noticed was that the dust bag was different than what I had experienced before, and was different than the other ones I had seen in YouTube videos. And I said that as I pulled it out of the package. I'm like, I haven't seen this dust bag before. It was either that it just said Marc Jacobs on it, or it had Marc Jacobs all over it. One of those two scenarios. And so it was different than what I had seen before. And I commented on the video, the unboxing video, that was unusual. And I wasn't really worried about it because companies change their dust bags all the time. And I knew Farfetch was legit, so I wasn't worried. So I discovered the imperfections that I wasn't happy with. I submitted for a return. Farfetch approved it. I sent it back. And then that's when the problem started to happen. The department store said that I sent them back a bag with a different tag and a different dust bag, I think. And the tag, it was attached still. And I said, no, that is the tag that was on it. They're like, no, this isn't like our tags. And the dust bag, I said, you know, I have it on video, me opening it. And I'm pretty sure I even sent them the video, not the department store, but to Farfetch. And then I think they sent it to the department store. And they're like, no, you've switched out the dust bag and you switched out the tags. So we're not going to give you a refund. We're going to return it. And this went on for a while, kind of back and forth. And then I involved my credit card company and I was able to get a refund. But Farfetch would not stand up for me. And I had a video showing what I pulled out of the box was what I sent back. But even so, Farfetch would not stand up for me. And I made multiple videos of it. It was incredibly frustrating. It was incredibly stressful. And it wasn't worth any small amount of savings I was able to get. And it wasn't worth getting the color that I had to have. I could have just gotten a different color and been a much happier person than to have to deal with Farfetch and with that particular boutique. Now that I look back on it, I think that was right around the time that Marc Jacobs switched their dust bags. And I have also noticed recently when I was going through my box of tags from my Marc Jacobs bags that the barcode and price tag and the way it's all written out, it is different on a lot of the different tags. It's not a consistent thing. And so I'm sure that whoever unpacked it probably compared it to what they had on the floor and they saw that it was different and they had no idea what they had sent out. They just were comparing it to what they had and assuming that there was a problem. And there wasn't a problem. They sent me what they sent me. And when it came down to it, the only way that they could prove that I was lying is if they had filmed themselves packing the bag up to send it to me and film the label and film the handoff to the DHL or whatever the driver was. They would have had to film it all. And so I told Farfetch that. I'm like, I've got myself filming, opening it up. If they are going to prove they're right, they're going to have to provide videotapes showing what they sent me. And I don't think that they're going to be able to do that. The whole situation was resolved, but let's just say that was probably another month and a half of stress worrying about how the whole situation was going to resolve. So I've given you 3 examples. I have barely scratched the tip of the iceberg on this topic. And so if this is something that's interesting to you and you want to find out about more dilemmas that I faced in the past and potential reasons why buying and selling handbags is not fun, then make sure to let me know down in the comments. And if you've had an issue with any of these 3 retailers, let me know that down in the comments too. I would love to hear your experiences, as well as I'm sure that others would love to hear your experiences too. My stressful situations are not limited to just buying. I have some with selling as well, but I'm already at 30 minutes almost for this video, so I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Do it and ring the notification bell so that you are notified of future exciting content such as this. Also, go find me on Instagram. The name there is the same. It's the @ then the handbag housewife, all lowercase. You can DM me there or you can email me at thehandbaghousewife@gmail.com. If I don't hear from you, I will see you again real soon. Take care and have a fabulous day. Bye.